traveled to share the game. This clinic's been on my bucket list for a long time, ever since I started coaching, because it's one of the preeminent clinics in the world. And certainly the legacy of this clinic online, I go around the world, and one of the things that connects many coaches to Canada are these Manitoba clinics, where many coaches have watched some of these Manitoba clinics online. So it's an honor to be a part of that. I'm not going to go into too much of me. We're going to focus on you, and I've already told the players, this clinic is about you, so the way I would coach players would be very different than the way I would run a coaching clinic. Since a coaching clinic is about helping you as coaches, they're not going to get as many repetitions as they would normally if we're running a session for them. And we're going to focus on that. Okay, down here, down there, go. So the question I'm here to ask you is there a better way? And what I would suggest, you guys can go, do what you're supposed to do. So what we have down here, repetitive shots. Over and over again, the same shot from the same spot. We know that's block practice. We know that's mindless practice. We have two-ball dribbling. Again, very static. I'll give you some alternatives as we go through this clinic. Very static, not dynamic, and again, relatively mindless in terms of this. And then down here we have mic and drill. Again, repetitive, mindless practice. Hold. One of the commands in the gym, and one of the most important things for me, is how you're going to manage your classroom. Your basketball practice is a learning environment. I want to phrase it as a learning environment. I want players to know it's a learning environment. Hold is one of my commands I use to manage my classroom. Hold means hold the ball, no extra dribble, no extra shot, so that we can focus on teaching time, so that I can get them back to practicing basketball. They learn by playing, they learn by doing. They do not learn by listening to me alone. They learn by physical practice. So I want to maximize the amount of time they physically practice in practice. And that is a huge goal. Thanks, guys. Give me 3 people on offense, 3 people on defense down there, and then give me 3 more at half court. You need 1 ball there, and then give me 3 down there on offense and defense, 1 ball. So 3 at half court. Get in 3 spots, red on defense, black on offense, 3 red on defense down there, 3 red on defense down there, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then 3 more right here. 3 more right here, 4, 3, 2, 1. So the countdown, they don't know what happens at 0. I don't know what happens at 0. All I know is that anytime I count down, people seem to move faster. So I use that as a part of a classroom management strategy. Consequences take away from learning time. I don't want my practices to be filled with consequences. And look, if consequences solve problems, we'd have no problems. So I want to focus on my basketball practices, making sure that they are playing basketball. So if we have a consequence, it would be something really short and quick, like 2 push-ups. Just literally something to create an emphasis. And very rarely would we even do that. Most of the consequences that I use in practice are, you lose the opportunity to play offense. You lose the opportunity to play offense. How many of you guys love defense? Put up your hands. Put up your hands. How many of you love defense? Okay, some of them are honest, some of them are not. But they're all lying if they put up their hand. Like they love defense because it helps their team succeed, helps them have a better experience playing basketball, but they all love offense. They all love to shoot the ball. So it's my goal as a coach to make sure that we maximize the amount of offensive development and repetitions they get because they have fun playing offense. So what is a natural consequence then? To take away offensive reps if they're not doing the things that I want them to do. And that's a natural consequence instead of me having to run them. And again, if running fixed problems, we'd have no problems. So, ball in the wing right here, give it to my dude right here. All right, defense has the ball to start with. Defense has the ball, get arm length away. Get arm length away from him. So can you reach out and touch him? So you're not arm length away. Okay, get in his stance, head below him, and you can play square. Now, where would you guys be defensively? Just play your stuff. Now, 3 pass one-on-one. All you're going to do is underhand pass back right away, and then underhand pass. So on the 3rd pass, it's live. It's live 3-on-3. Just focus on this court, then I'll show you how we'll develop it from there. Okay, start again. Okay, hold. So everywhere I go in the world, it's the same thing. It's absolutely the same thing. Whether it's Australia, it's Europe, it's America, it's Canada, it's the same thing. Players often play the game to pass the ball and to dribble the ball. How do you score? Shoot. So we want to emphasize first that our basketball philosophy, and we're always going to try and connect our principles of play to everything we do, comes back to there is one decision, and that's when you're open, you shoot the ball. We're trying to create a mindset. And if we're talking about player development and team development, there's two things. Number one, my goal is to help my players improve every day in practice. Makes sense? And my goal is to help our team win. So I want to connect everything that I do in practice to those two goals. If I'm doing something in practice, block shooting, two-ball dribbling, mic and drill, that aren't helping my players individually improve and to help our team win by connecting skills and decisions together, then I feel that I'm devaluing my value as a coach. And I'm here to tell you, you're more valuable than a lot of you think. You're way more valuable. But your value is not, ready, dribble, pound, dribble, pound. Your value as a coach is not that. He can do that on his own. That's player-led development. I'm all for, I'm not here to tell you anything's wrong. I'm here to ask the question, is there a better way? And I feel there's a better way because we have limited time to help them connect skills and decisions, and that's our value as a coach. For him, he can do that on his own. Who's responsible for your learning? Who's responsible for your motivation? I'm not a motivator as a parent, coach, teacher. I'm not a motivator. I create an environment for them to be motivated. That's my goal, to create an environment for them to be motivated. But I'm not a motivator. That's not it. Telling them to play harder gives them no information at all. And we'll talk more about that as we go through this. It means, hey, play harder, play harder. Great, I solved all problems. What I need to do is I need to create an environment where they're going to play hard. And how we do that. I'm not going to, again, tell you that you're wrong, but I'm going to have you constantly ask the question, is there a better way? So, teaching, connecting, transfer. Those are my goals in practice. Teaching, connecting, and transfer. We're really good at coaches, I feel, at the first thing, which is teaching what to teach. Look, I could give you ideas what inbound to teach, what press break to run, but I think coaches generally were good at that. I can tell you, I know that because on at B-Ball Immersion, Twitter on at B-Ball Immersion, if I post a play, I can get hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of likes on a play. Coaches love plays. So you can find a play. But if I post a sample of me teaching or me explaining something I'm teaching, I won't get hundreds of likes. I know the play will get more likes than that. So I know that we're all good with the what to teach part. You can figure that out. So my focus is more on the connecting and the transfer. How can we connect the information for the player so that they can transfer it to the game? And come back to this question constantly, that's what we worked on. That's my goal every game, is that players leave that game going, that's what we worked on. We worked on this in practice, and it's helping me individually be better in the game as a player, and it's helping our team succeed. And if I'm doing something that isn't helping my players do that, then I feel that I have too much fluff in my practice, and I need to remove that. And a lot of these blocked on-air drills I showed you to start with, they're fluff. They don't help the player individually get better with a coach. And a coach can connect skills and decisions. Okay, so rotation here, just so we go. Okay, you guys will do the same thing, 3-pass one-on-one down there, 3-pass one-on-one down here. Okay, we're going to rotate out. So if you get a stop, you go to center. At center, you go to the first available basket that becomes available, and you come in on offense. Defense starts with the ball, and it's 3 passes to live. When I shut up, they can start. As much as possible, I try and remove the necessity for me to organize things. Okay, now hold. hold. Good effort with rotation down here. What happened down here? Did you score or not score? So you should be on defense. Team that got scored on goes to what? Half court. Go to half court. And what should you guys be doing? Jogging down there and going in on offense. I try to remove the necessity of me saying go. I would only intervene if they need me. Okay, hold. Cool. So this is uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable for me to watch. It is, and I want you to know that. Everything I do is by design. Everything is based on evidence-based ideas around teaching and coaching that can help players learn not just how to play basketball, but also how to lead and follow. How do we develop better leaders? How do we develop better followers? How do we develop better communicators? How do we get them to talk? Well, we put them in situations to do it. All right, I learned to play piano by playing the piano. I learned to lead by being in leadership situations. So as a coach, I have the answers. I could give them the answers they need here. I could get on them, I could tell them to hustle, I could tell them to go, or I could give them these moments of grace where it does slow down the learning process, but overall it helps them engage more with the material as they fight for their learning, because struggle is necessary for learning. Mistakes are necessary for learning, struggle is necessary for learning. So I want them to have this opportunity to fight for their learning. So if they need me, I can either co-create a solution with them. What can help us rotate on and off faster? Sprinting, awesome. It'd be great if I don't have to come to Manitoba to teach you things you know already, right? Right, so we know, no coach ever has told you to jog or walk, they tell you to move fast, right? So move fast, there's a good one. So I can co-create solutions with them by asking questions, or if they're super struggling, then I can intervene and give them the answer. But before I give them the answer and before I co-create the solution with a question, I would love to give them a period of grace where they try and figure it out themselves. And they roughly kind of figured it out themselves. Here's another basic concept here is teach the drill before the skill. I haven't taught about any technical, tactical part of this drill. The initial part is, can they do the drill right? If I teach the drill and the skills and tactics at the same time, I am talking too long. Short bursts of information, that's what players need. That's what our practices require for me to be able to keep them actively involved in the learning process. So active learning time, time on task, I'm maximizing those things by removing myself as much as possible as the coach and only being there with short bursts of information. So once they have the drill concept correct, now I can go in and teach the skills or decisions that go with that. Give the defense the ball, okay, arm length away. Are you arm length away? So you get what you accept as a coach. If it's important enough for you to teach, it's important enough to hold them accountable to it. I don't have to run him to hold him accountable to it. I just need to make him aware that he can do better. So arm length away, head down. Where would you be? What's your responsibility relative to the ball? If the ball goes where are you helping the ball? Ball goes where? What direction would you be helped? What's this called? You can call it whatever you want, but what would you call it? Okay, which help side where? Give a location on the floor. Can you help him? Where would you be relative to the ball? What's your help position relative to the ball? What are you responsible for? If the ball goes where, what are you responsible for? Okay, so what is this area? Help is what you're doing, but what's your responsibility? Help right, thank you. Great effort answering. This is a safe environment. You can answer questions wrong, you cannot know the answers, and you can also make mistakes physically. It's a safe environment. Okay, I'm really proud of you for thinking it through. So that's another part of this process for me, and I'm showing you that intentionally so you see how awkward and uncomfortable it is for players, for me, It's all part of the process. Hey guys, all of us as humans, me, you, all of us, we're bad before we're okay. We're okay before we're better. We're good before we're great. Like, this process of learning is normal, and we want to normalize it for players. And unfortunately, a lot of what we share sometimes just shows the end result, and it being, oh, this player can already do this. But what we know is learning is nonlinear. It's nonlinear. Like, the way he's going to learn 3 times between his legs, he's going to learn it at a different time, he's going to learn it at a different time. They're all going to learn it at different times. It doesn't mean they can't learn it, they just haven't learned it yet, which is the most powerful word in all of coaching, is yet. Like, I'll never have a player say, hey, you know, you're not real good at this, and then I'll make sure that we always finish that sentence with yet. But we want to normalize the fact that it's okay to not be good at something, because creating that learning environment helps them reach beyond their level. Reach beyond their level. So we would say, you said help, right? It's actually left, I think. He's going to his left. It's relative to him. And then this would be help, technically, then based on that help, left, right? Now, we'll say it even easier. Your middle and your base. Your middle and your base. And you play from there. Offense, on the catch. No pause on the catch. So your superpower on the catch is to attack immediately. So no jabs, no shot fakes. As soon as you catch it, drive to score. You're trying to score. Okay, your goal off the dribble is to score or to draw 2 people. If you draw 2 people, what are you going to do? Pass, right. But if you draw 1 person, what are you going to do? Score. 1 player doesn't stop you. That's a mentality of what we're trying to build in terms of drive to score. We're trying to drive to score, and your goal is to score. Now, more importantly, off drive to score, there's a beautiful half circle on this court, and hopefully there are most courts, but we call that the smile. The happiest place on earth is the smile. So our goal, if we're driving the ball, is not to get to the paint. The paint is a whole big area. Like, if you get to the paint here, what's the value of that relative to getting the paint here? So our value is getting to the smile. We want to be happy, so we want to get to the smile. So his goal on offense is to get to the smile and score, or get to the smile and draw 2. If he draws 2, he kicks and plays. Now, on their own, they should be switching spots. They should be playing in different spots, and we play off of that. But anyways, let's go, because I'm going to build off of this. All right? Hold. How many passes to live? Okay, you guys are out. New team come in. So what's the consequence of not doing something right is you don't get to play offense. You lose offensive possession. You can go. Let's go. Okay, hold. You guys are out. Who starts with the ball? Defense, 3 passes. Every detail matters. Rotate, 4, 3, 2, 1. Get a jog. Let's go. Figure it out. Talk. Quicker. Let's go. Quicker. Defense starts with the ball. Let's go. Okay, hold. What's your help responsibility? Can you see your check? So if the ball goes where are you helping? What do we say? What do we call it, guys? Base. So if the ball goes base, you got help there. If the ball goes where? Your help where? So butt to the rim. Okay, butt to the rim, see both, lopsided triangle, play from there. Are you arm length away? Can you reach out and touch him? So no, so you're not defending. So head below his, you still can't touch him. Okay, defense, this is a way to phrase defense. Defense is perception and deception. Perception and deception. Why do you want to play with a stick hand out? Because the perception is that you're closer than you are. The reality is he's still pretty far away, and he has a gap so he doesn't get beat off the dribble. If his hand is down, put your hands down, the perception is that the offensive player has space. So perception and deception is really important. And we're going to talk about this concept of knowing your help. All defense is relative to the ball, because what scores? What scores, guys? What scores? The ball. It's so simple. The ball scores. So everything that we do defensively is relative to the ball because the ball scores. So we want to know our responsibilities. Who's your check? And what's your responsibility? You can say one word. We try to break down all communication into one word because we want short bursts of information. We want to be able to communicate quickly. So base, middle, and play off that. and then we go from there. All right, so defense starts with the ball. Let's go. Hold, hold. Can I coach you? We have an agreement that I can coach you? That's cool? Okay. Chris Oliver, good to meet you. What's your name? Mike. Cool. Good to meet you, Mike. Blake. Okay, Blake. I want to create agreements in practice because I want to be able to coach them. And I want to be able to coach them in a non-threatening way. I want to be able to coach them by holding them accountable to what I teach. To me, hard coaching is not running them, it's not yelling at them. Hard coaching is holding them accountable to what you teach. Blake, what did I just coach down here relative to the player covering the ball? Use my words. You use my words and we'll communicate faster. How did we define being close? Somebody help them. Arm length away. So, okay? And then how do we define that you're putting effort into your stance? Great effort, great effort. But relative to your stance, what was it? Head below the player you're covering. So I gave them 2 details about playing defense. Defense isn't that complicated. But now I can't just say play harder. I got to define for them what it means to play harder on defense. And relative to the ball, playing harder for me is, can you cover arm length away and your head below the player you're covering? So now I'm giving them key features of what I mean by play harder. There's no point in me saying play harder if I don't tell them what it means to play harder. And that's what we're trying to define for them. Now, hard coaching to me is, every time Blake doesn't play arm length away or get his head below the player he's covering, I hold him accountable to that. I either stop it and coach it, or more often than not, if it's one player or 1 or 2 players making the mistake, I'll coach them individually. If it's multiples, 3, 4, 5 players making the mistake, I'll coach the group. But I don't want to just stop the whole practice for Blake, I want to stop the practice for the group. So in these situations, I would coach Blake more individually, and as he comes back to the minnow, it gives me opportunities to be able to hold them accountable. Or I would just say, hold, recreate, hold the ball, no extra shots, no extra dribbles. Recreate means go back to the place where there was a mistake, and then we coach it from there, and then we let them play. We follow feedback with action. We follow feedback with action. Again, I've been to practices all around the world, really great coaches, really famous coaches, all of the above, really great youth coaches, really bad coaches at all levels, good, bad, ugly, all that. But I'll tell you, one of the biggest problems I think coaches have is that you give really great information, but then you don't let the player follow that information with actually gameplay, where they get to apply the information. It's often summary information, summary feedback. Oh, at the end of 3 trips, I tell them the details of the first trip and what they could have done better, but meanwhile, they don't get to follow that with action. So follow feedback with action. If I'm going to coach Blake right now, I'm going to say hold, recreate. Hey, Blake, where should you be defensively? There you go. And now we say, okay, let's play from there. Defense, start with the ball, let's go. Okay, hold, recreate, go back to the top. Ball's in the corner right there. You guys, you're good, but just hold it just for the sake of this. Again, I would hold this group. I wouldn't hold that group, but for the clinic, we got to. But here, get the dominoes going, right? No. Pass one along the baseline. You caught the ball. You passed it to the top, right? Now, no, you're good. Excellent. We had a drive baseline. We had a pass to the corner. We had the defense in recovery. We call that dominoes. Dominoes. The dominoes are falling, meaning we're creating advantages and the defense is in recovery. So we've got them moving. We want to keep the dominoes falling and not stop them from falling. How did you stop the dominoes from falling? You paused. Now, what was a possible solution? Answer now. You could drive, you could attack the closeout immediately, right? Or you could initiate an action, could be a handoff, could be a pass to some action, but we want to keep the dominoes falling. Play after the play, or conceptual offense. Alex Sarama, the BDT offense, if you want to learn more about conceptual offense, The play after the play stuff is the most important stuff because we're teaching them how to play basketball. And I'll talk about structure and giving them a structure, and we want to give them a structure because a certain amount of freedom comes from structure. But once they have the structure, we want to move them from structure to unstructured. Because this variability or this unpredictability is what's going to help them be better basketball players and ultimately help them individually succeed and help your team succeed. So we want to create that variability. Okay, all of you just go sit over there. You guys, everybody go sit down, except you two stay. Let's go, you two stay. Okay, go to the top. Everyone else go sit down for a second. Come here. You're on, bud. Or come on, one of you stay. Let's go. Cool. Okay, arm length away, ready? Okay, who starts with the ball? Defense. Okay, now you're going to play the same thing, one-on-one. Go. Switch it, quick, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, okay, why would you lose offensive possession? Can't count to 3. Like, that stuff matters to me. That's the stuff I'm going to hard coach because those are the details. The details, all those different things that come with it, right? Really important concepts that apply. Now, it doesn't matter if he can count to 3 or not. Ultimately, no. But if we're trying to set up a drill, then I'm going to coach the drill first, right? Once they know the drill, then I'm going to coach the skills. And to be honest, here's another question to constantly reflect on. Are you spending time in practice coaching drills, or are you spending time in practice coaching basketball? To me, that's why I don't like drills, is because I end up coaching the drill. To me, what I want to coach in practice is basketball, and that's the value of you as a coach, and that's why we'll play largely 3-on-3, 4-on-4, 5-on-5. And I went through a whole university season at the University of Windsor as a head coach there, where we did nothing but 5-on-5 the whole year. The only thing we didn't do 5-on-5 was isolated shooting type stuff. Otherwise, we played 5-on-5 every single minute of practice and did not have an issue whatsoever with learning skills and decisions at the same time. And I do know, because I'm coaching I'm coaching a 9-year-old and 11-year-old, 2 daughters of mine right now, and I'm doing similar things with them. I am not a whole coach. I am not a part coach. I am a whole coach. And only do the part if I need it. And I think as coaches, again, here's another challenge for us, is that we often predetermine what they need to learn. I come in with a great season plan. Okay, we need to do this on this day, this on this day, this on this day. You know what I do? I don't plan it anymore. All I do is go play basketball and then start to figure out what they need to learn. And I'll share more of that with coaches tomorrow, some of the things that I'm learning from my practices with my U11 girls team. But that's the concept, is that I started with the game. Now, we could have been 5-on-5, it could have been 4-on-4, but we did a 3-on-3 situation, 3-pass 1-on-1, 3-on-3. And we played the game. And then from there, within that game, I'm going to try and teach everything they need to learn. Penetration, reaction, attack and counter, so skills and decisions, defense, okay, relative to the ball, okay, positioning, defending the ball. I mean, I can teach all those things there. The question many of you ask is, well, how can they play basketball if they don't have the skill? How can they play basketball if they don't understand the game? Well, it's going to be messy, but in the long run, it's going to connect better for them. It's going to connect. Remember, teaching, connecting, transfer. Connecting means that the player sees that the practice situation connects for them to the game. Those things connect back and forth, and transfer means, obviously, it's happening in the game. The ultimate test of what you're teaching is just showing up in the game. And if I'm teaching them something, 3-man weave, for example, am I seeing that show up in the game? Well, it's not just the pattern. It's literally the fact that there's no distracting information or visual stimuli, so there's no decisions. If you reflect back on all the drills I showed you to start with, block shooting, 2-ball dribbling, mic and drill, there were no decisions. If you are doing a ton of drills in your practice where there's no decisions, then it's probably not connecting and transferring to the game. And I'll talk a little bit more about perfection drills and some of these concepts, but by and large, just remove them. Remove them. NBA teams on down to youth teams that I presented to, I would say the number one takeaway for so many of them is to remove the fluff. Remove the things that don't connect information for the player to the game. And that generally comes back to skills and decisions being together. So we can always simplify the situation. So right now, instead of 3-pass one-on-one, we're playing one-on-one. So 3-pass one-on-one, right? And now they're playing. So we have this situation. Ready? Hold. Now, we're going to talk about decisions, and I'll connect that for you here in a second, but we can also coach with what we call constraints. A constraint-led approach is this. I limit something to afford something else. So I limit something so that something else is allowed to happen. If we think about it, I take you to the buffet and you eat salad only. You go to the buffet and you get to have salad, pasta. He goes to the buffet, he can eat anything he wants. I'm limiting something, I'm limiting him to salad to afford the opportunity to focus on that. Some other players can handle more of the buffet, some can't. But it's also the way we would coach your team situation. So right now, in this situation, the constraint is the defense must force to the weak hand. So you must force him weak hand. Do you know which hand is a strong hand for him? By the way, that would be another concept in practice, and we would just suddenly stop practice and we'd say, okay, tell me who's left-handed and who's right-handed. And I would ask players. And I would hold them accountable to the details of the game and learning that. And that, again, applies at all levels. That applies at all levels. Thinking the game applies to all levels. Decision-making applies to all levels. That is not an advanced skill. Decision-making is probably the most important skill for youth players. And the number one decision is to define whether you're open or not. And we'll talk about that now. Okay, ready? 3-pass one-on-one. Don't let him go strong hand. Let's go. 4, 3, 2, 1. Come on, quick. Okay, hold. Okay, everyone get a partner, get a ball, go, play one-on-one. That rim or that rim, go. Same deal. Got to force weak hand. 4, 3, 2. Everyone's playing. There's no lines, everyone's playing. Figure it out. There you go, communicate. Okay, hold. Here, you two, besties. You're good, you're safe. But I just want to use an example. Have you played one-on-one yet? How many repetitions of one-on-one? I know you guys are already on. How many repetitions have you guys had? Okay, 1. How many of you had? 1? Okay, so everyone else basically has got at least one more rep than you guys already. So who's getting better and who's not? So to me, again, I could get mad at them, I could get frustrated at them, I could run them, or I could just point out the consequences of not moving faster, not getting places faster. And again, guys, you're safe. That's just a simple example. I wouldn't have even brought that up. But it just points out to the coaches, what hard coaching means is holding them accountable to things that matter. How do you get better in basketball practice? How do you get better in basketball practice? By listening to me or playing basketball? Playing basketball. So do you want to maximize the amount of time you play basketball in practice? This is where a foundation of everything that I started coaching 25 years, 30 years ago now, it all came back to this, athlete enjoyment. And then I started to learn from watching practices, from coaching multiple teams, from being involved at the college level, what players actually enjoy about basketball practice. Do you know what they don't enjoy about basketball practice? 5-on-0 inbound. You know what they love about basketball practice? Playing basketball. So how can I maximize the amount of time they enjoy practice? In my mind relates to they're going to have a ball in their hands as much as possible, or we're going to be playing offense versus defense, because I want them to get better. Well, even more importantly, the research, the evidence-based research says that that better connects things for a player. If you want to get into the depth of the research, perception-action coupling, different things like this, but basically it's this concept that before he shoots the ball or before he does anything biomechanically in basketball, he goes through this progression. He perceives, he decides, he executes his skill, he gets feedback on what happens. The third part of that is he executes a skill. And yet so many of us spend almost all of our practices on executing the skill, obsessed with just the skill. Well, he perceives and decides. Those are the two things before that. Before that. So I am going to focus on those two things more than anything. Okay? In fact, I think the decision is more important than the skill. The decision to shoot an open shot, the decision to shoot an open layup is more important than the type of shot they shoot. And I'm not discounting skill. Skill's important, but here's the other part of skill. Skill equals confidence. The more skilled I can get them, and skill is not just biomechanical, it's the application of that skill in the environment that it's to be used. The more skilled I can get them, the more fun they're going to have playing basketball because they'll have more solutions. So that's why I'm going to spend as much time as possible on these things. Let's see if they figure out that when I shut up, they can just start. It'll happen, right? It happens everywhere. And look, I only have to do that a few times, and then they'll be great with it. Okay, hold. Again, guys, I apologize. This is not about you. It's about the coaches. I just need to give them enough rep that you see it. But I'm going to get to work with them tonight. But here's the thing. To me, like, those moments of kind of awkward uncomfortableness, I know they're awkward, I know they're uncomfortable, and I want them, first of all, to normalize and know that being uncomfortable is part of the learning process. But two, I only have to do that a few times. After that, they learn the routines of I shut up, they get going. And I think about other ways. I generally don't make rotations. I don't make teams. Usually I won't call out drills. I'll just go say, hey, we're in 3-on-1 transition. And I'll tell him, and he's got to tell everyone. Right? I try and create situations constantly in my practices where they're mindful and they have to engage in the learning process and be active participants in the learning process. Okay, now the initial part of this is probably a lot of you are going, oh my gosh, they're all at the same basket. Well, to me, that's a mistake that I made a long time ago, is I used to have perfect repetitions. Perfect space, everyone had their own space, nobody was going to run into each other, blah, blah, blah. Well, what I've learned is that actually takes away one of the most valuable learning opportunities I can give them. Whether it's layups, whether it's one-on-one, different things like that, I want chaos at the basket. And if I had 6 rims here, I would demonstrate this with all of them at the same basket for you and play often all of them at the same basket with them. Here's why. The number one fundamental, forget about dribbling, shooting, anything like that, the number one fundamental in basketball is space. Space. Okay, so if I ask you any question on offense, the answer is always space. Now you're good, right? So what's the answer on offense? Good. Now they know everything about basketball offense. Offense is always about space. So any question I ask them throughout these 4 days, or 2 days, 4 sessions, they will know the answer is space. It's space, it's always the answer. So space is the answer. Space is the answer for the offense. What's the answer for the defense? Defense is always the opposite. So if offense wants to create space, what does defense want to do? Take away space. And that's it. We try and simplify every part of the process for them, and offense is about creating space, and defense is about taking away space. And then we build it from there. So here's the most important part of this. If all of them are going to the same basket, what do they have to find? It's always the answer. And if I have them in perfect reps, they lose the opportunity to work on scanning skills. Again, if you want to go dive into the research, a lot of it's been done on professional soccer, but scanning skills, the ability to be able to see without seeing. Sometimes we call it peeking. You're coming off of a ball screen and you're peeking, you're scanning, you're seeing. So right now, if they're going to the basket and somebody's at the smile where they're going, they have to adjust and they have to modify and welcome to the game situation because you don't have perfect reps in the game. Right? So again, you can simplify it or make it more complicated by having more or less people at the basket, but if we're shooting, if we're doing layups, if we're doing types of one-on-ones, then we want multiple people at a basket because they need to find space. They need to find space. So 3-pass one-on-one connects. Okay, everybody go sit down. Give me 2 people out here. You stay. Chris Oliver. Gabriel, okay. Chris Oliver. Evan, great job. Okay, Evan, can you go up there for a second? Gabriel, great job saying your name, by the way. Really important part of the process, obviously, as coaches is to normalize certain things and to connect certain things to life. one of the big things is say your name loud and proud. Say your name loud and proud. So I'm impressed with both of them because they said their name the first time and I understood it. And that to me matters, and if they don't, then we'll communicate about how important that is to be able to say your name loud and proud. And chances are, if Gabriel's not saying his name loud and proud, he's probably not communicating in your practice situation loud and proud either. So we want to normalize communication as part of the process. Okay, Gabriel, I'm real quick. I'm an active participant in your learning. Just move in a step. We'll start inside the three-point line, Gabriel. Okay, now I'm going to play arm length away. This is called shoulder game. Shoulder game. Basketball Immersion, YouTube, type in shoulder game. There's videos of shoulder game. This is the bridge between on-air practice and live offense versus defense. The bridge. Actually, go to the top so coaches can see you a little bit better. There you go, buddy. Okay, now I'm going to pass you the ball. If my hands are out, you pass it right back to me. If I step backwards, you have space. What should you do with the space? Say it. Shoot. So we're going to define now the decision-making process for them. And the decision-making process comes down to this. Arm length away is defensive advantage. More than arm length away is offensive advantage. So if you have more than arm length advantage, there's only one decision, and that's shoot. Because we want to build a mindset. As you move up in levels, maybe upper high school into college, you might define your role a little bit better, but if we're talking about player development, we want all players to have a shoot-first mentality, because that's the game nowadays. The value of the three and the value of the shot are very important, and the value for him for his future career are even more important. What's your reality right now, tall or short? Right, that's not a weakness. What can you reframe for players? Constantly think about what can you reframe for players. They think short is a weakness, and I think it's a reality. It's not a weakness, it's a reality. So how can you play short? How can you play short and be effective? Because there's lots of examples of really great players that are short and effective. Well, for Gabriel, it's not that you're going to be short, you just haven't grown yet. So that's a reality. And I'll share some more ideas on that tomorrow's session. But we want to deal with realities and think about things that we can reframe to normalize for him. Okay, so real simple here. One, right? I step back, what do? Shoot. I rebound the ball. I'm working for you. Ready? You can do three. He doesn't know when he's going to shoot, but he's going to shoot. Okay? Now, what's another thing we can normalize? We can normalize missing. Gabriel, I missed once too. Okay? You know what I never did is acted like I missed. That's the thing. Guys, you're going to miss shots. Don't act like you missed a shot. That's a key part of it. Never act like you missed a shot. Act like every shot went in. That's normalizing the missing process, because we all miss. It's all part of it. Okay? Get a partner in the ball. Shoulder game. Shoot two and switch. Shoot two and switch. Could be on the first pass. Could be on the fifth pass. We can add skills to this, which I'll show you in a second. But this is connecting skills and decisions in a practice. Are they arm length away defensively? Is their head below the player they're covering? Are they getting shots? Is it a drill of low organization? Yes, it is. Hold. Hold. Okay, everyone hop on one foot, hop. When I clap my hands, get 2 feet to the ground. Okay, again, did your coaches tell you in basketball to land with straight legs? How did they tell you to land? Right, we all know that, so let's, again, don't have me coach things you already know. Hop. So, generally we would say hop, hop, and then they fight for their feet. Again, Basketball Immersion YouTube, fight for your feet. It's an explanation of what we talk about, action, reaction, the laws of physics. You drive your feet into the ground, you get an equal and opposite reaction back. That's how we define footwork, and it's also how we define a principle of play, which is 0 seconds. 0 seconds means there's no pause on the catch. There's no pause on the catch. If you pause, you lose advantage. Big advantage comes from being able to be able to apply a perception and a decision as soon as you catch the ball. And we start to define that for them in shoulder game. More than arm length, what do? Shoot. Okay, less than arm length right now. Pass. Ready? Get ready, bud. Every time you catch the ball, hold. Every time you catch the ball on offense, we want to catch it with a fight for your feet. Fight for your feet. Just on offense. Are you arm length away? Are you arm length away? So we can coach skills and decisions here. We can coach footwork. We can coach signatures. We call it signing your shot on your follow-through, whatever you're coaching. Individual players, this is the buffet too. Certain players will have different cue words. Hold. One of the most important things you can do for your players is to have a cue word about their shot for every player. This player, hey, signature, a reminder for him for his follow-through. Hey, this player, bend and extend. That means flow from one motion. Whatever your cues are, every player is probably going to, some will have the same cue, but by and large, they'll have their individualized cue. To me, that's not just about helping them individually remind themselves what they can do better with their shot, but it also helps me connect to them in the sense that they know individually I have their best interest. Because we have our individual thing. Just like Adam and I bonded because he was playing Pearl Jam before. Like not many gyms I get to go to where I listen to Pearl Jam before the clinic, so that was cool. Like we connected on that, simple things like that. So we can connect on words, we can connect on the fact that I individually know them and I connect to them, okay? Everyone you can go sit down. Give me two. Gabriel, stay here with, name again? Evan. Okay, step back, Evan. Okay, ready? Fight for your feet. Fight for your feet. Every time, fight for your feet. Okay, now, where's your space?
This side.
Remember the happiest place on earth?
This one.
Yeah, so you want to go to that smile. So, the second part of shoulder game is to connect decisions off the dribble. The first one are decisions off the catch, which are arm length and less than arm length away. The shoot or pass decision. Now, obviously, there's a shoot, pass, drive decision. Shooting is the first decision. There's no triple threat. It's one threat. Shoot the ball. Everything else is a secondary decision. Pass, drive. Those are secondary decisions. Why? What scores? The ball. So we want to shoot the ball when we're open. We want to shoot the ball when it's open. We'll talk more about that. For Gabriel, right now, what do you do? See how you paused? We want to move that for 0 seconds. Fight for your feet, fight for your feet. Drive. Okay, now at the basket, you're constrained at the basket. So you don't know if you're going to shoot it or drive it. The constraint is the basket, is you must finish off at 2 feet somehow. Must finish off at 2 feet. Go. So I can use any of my layout prescriptions for them at the basket, right? I'm just doing 2 feet right now just as a simple version. But now they can shoot it or they can drive it. And what do they always have to try and find? Space. They always have to find space. Okay, hold. Go sit. Gabriel, let's go. Go sit. Everybody go sit quick. Here, hold. I guess it's you. Stay. Okay. Reach, so drop, sprint, and gap. That means you're going to attack towards me, and then counter. Okay, come back. And then 2 feet frontage. So, attack and counter. Just hip turn, flip your hips. Go back, face me again. Are you arm length away? Can you touch me? Right? And now flip your hips in one motion. Okay, come back. Just flip your hips, don't worry about reaching gap. So, quick, how can you flip your hips? There you go. That ability, so at the same time we're connecting basketball skills, we're also connecting athletic ability. There's so many things in basketball that you flip your hips. So we're working on them defensively, flipping their hips. We're also working on them, drop, sprint, and gap. Defense, what we've been taught about defense, by the way, how many of you still use a BlackBerry? No hands up. It's okay if you did, there's no judgment. But it's amazing that we, as coaches, still use BlackBerries. Like so many coaches still use BlackBerries, even though there's so much more teaching, learning, skill acquisition, based research that says we shouldn't be using BlackBerries anymore. So those of us that hold on to our BlackBerry in coaching are missing an opportunity to really help impact kids and have them more fun playing basketball. And you know what we're missing? Is that on-air block drills don't develop players the same as connecting skills and decisions in two-way offense versus defense coaching. And if you want, again, go to Basketball Immersion. We've got tons of blogs on it where we can show you the evidence-based research, and you can understand a little bit better why a games approach, ecological approach, constraints-led approach are better. And we're not using BlackBerries anymore. And I haven't for a long time in coaching. And that's where we can do better for him. So now we want to do this where, just move in for a little bit, where he absolutely, fight for feet. He doesn't know what he's going to do. This time he's going to drive. Come back. Just a cool concept here. Flip your hips this way. Flip your hips this way. No, the other way so the coaches can see. There. One of the concepts that I learned from an NBA coach was this leg lock. That when you drive, you leg lock. And if you go watch Luka Doncic in particular, you can see that he's constantly leg locking. So how do we get them to get closer on the drive rather than wider and banana cuts and stuff like that? I used to talk about a swim, and now I see it. It's more important for the feet than it is for the arms. And it's that ability to be able to go in a straight line. So how do I connect him? So his problem, flip your hips. His problem, and many of your problems were, on your drive, you were going wide. So how do we connect them to being able to go straight? Well, I can say, hey, go straight to the basket, go straight to the basket. But instead of that, I need to find a cue or a feature that connects for them. And what it connects for them is the ability to be able to leg lock. Because I'm going to obviously initiate the contact and be able to go close to the rim. Come back. For your feet. Fight for your feet. Fight for your feet. Attack towards me, and then counter. Now hold. So what we would do on that, come back to your right there, go right there, boom, reach and gap right there. So here, I attack here, and then I counter here. What am I trying to do when I go past him? To know that I'm going straight. Leg lock. Okay, so the counter. We're going to limit. There's no spin dribbles. Spin dribbles are banned. For me, they're banned in basketball because the default for spin dribbles for young players becomes the butt back. Right, the protection dribble. So we limit something to afford something. We limit the spin dribble to afford the ability to be able to develop the behind the back and the between the legs in particular. So your counter now is between the legs. Okay, come back. Before you start, guys, when you come out here, just do one rep both ways with your partner. Watch my feet. Watch my feet. Nope, just watch. Drop, sprint, gap. Why? Advantage off the dribble. Dribble. His advantage off the dribble is shoulder to chest. My advantage defensively and his disadvantage offensively is chest to chest. So you're a good defender if you can maintain what position? Chest to chest. Now we've defined for them not just offense, but we've defined defense too. If you can cover someone for 2 dribbles chest to chest in the half court, you're a pretty good defender. If you can cover someone arm length away and defend 2 dribbles chest to chest, you're a very good defender. If you can cover someone half an arm length and defend them for 3 dribbles, you're an excellent defender. And we define that for them because we want them to connect skills and decisions together, but also to be able to help them individually get better and help our team win. And we keep coming back to that. So before you start, guys, both players, just a guided rep, pass them the ball, hold the ball, just walk through it, go slow learning, drop your foot, sprint a step, and jump backwards. Because my goal is to stay what to what? So when he attacks, I don't want to try and cut him off like this, because who always gets called for fouls? Defense always gets called for the foul. So I want to be able to maintain that chest to chest and that reach and gap. So my gap is my goal. Gap is the goal. Okay? Is it better to give up a shot and a smile, a 3, or a contested mid-range? What's better to give up defensively? Contested mid-range. They're smart. Like, they know that. You know, that's the game nowadays. In analytics, people smarter than us have told us, and I believe it. I know there's value to getting the smile. There may not be value at some of your levels or for some of your players at shooting the three, but there's values to getting to the smile over the mid-range. So that's what we emphasize. My under 11 girls team, it's constantly, it's get to the smile, get to the smile, get to the smile. That's the goal. Get to the smile and score or draw help. Draw two. Okay, so it's a guided rep. Go through just the footwork part. Once you've both gone through the footwork part, then you can go live shoulder game with all 4 decisions. 4 decisions. Shoot, more than arm length away. Pass, arms out. Drive, that's flip hips. And then attack and counter is reach and gap. That's just our defensive footwork. That's why we call it reach and gap. You can call them different things. But go on Basketball Immersion YouTube. There's a version of shoulder game. You'll see it. We can load it with a ton of challenge, but this is how we connect skills and decisions in the game situation. Okay, hold. So, there's 2 things. One, I could say, okay, it was my mistake, and it was my mistake, because a lot of them are now doing 1-foot layups at the rim. Right? So I didn't connect the fact that the last one and this one, they're doing 2-foot layups. Well, I can also say, do you guys know what a back pivot is? Where you attack the rim, pivot on your back foot and shoot. We could say you must back pivot. We could say you must euro at the rim. We can say you must push shot at the rim. We can prescribe anything we want. And sometimes, and I'll talk more about this in the second session, we coach with constraints, and my terminologies come down to this: musts and possibilities. If I want to shape something very specific, you must back pivot and you must make them drive on defense. So if you want to think about can't, what can they not do on offense? You must make them drive. So what are you not going to let them do? Shoot. Okay? So we can create musts to shape very specific things. That can be for the team or that can be for individual players. You know, today you must make him shoot because I'm working on his shot. Right? Okay, you must make them drive, and you must use a back pivot of some sequence at the rim. Okay, look at me real quick. Back pivot, turn, shoot. Back pivot, up and under. Right? Look at me, last one. Back pivot to reverse pivot. No spin dribble, right? And where's your back pivot? Okay, hold. Defense, just cue the decision. You're not playing live. Just cue the decision. Also, what is an obvious thing that we can correct right now? Are you guys loving life down here? It's the place to be. It's how I feel living in California. No offense. Why is this the place to be? What do they have? What's always the answer? So they're smart, some of them are not smart, right? And I'll point that out as the obvious. Like again, all I have to say is stop. Hey, you enjoying life? What do you have a lot of? And then that hopefully cues some of them to figure it out, right? And if not, then I have to go tell them. But I'd rather have them figure it out rather than me have to implicitly tell them, okay? Bounce out, bounce out. No spit, right? Well, after you cue them, you're not playing live defense. Let them go into the back pivot. Get some groups down there if you didn't follow that sarcasm. Okay, hold. Watch. Come here, come here. Watch. Just make me drive. Okay. I'm going. I get to the smile, and now I'm back pivoting in the smile. A lot of you are doing a back pivot high. Now, watch if he makes me counter. Sprint back. Come back, come back. See, that's too slow. Drop your foot, drop that foot, sprint, jump stop. There, see how that's quicker? Stay there, stay there, stay there. And now I would attack, counter, and now I'm into a back pivot here. That's how it should look. Go. Again, do I need to spend an hour? I could give them an hour lecture on all those things. Do I need to spend the hour? Or is there more value to them actually doing it first and me seeing what they actually need information on? And then gradually, because I know learning is nonlinear, I don't have to give them every detail to start. I don't have to give them every detail to start. Okay, hold. So the question is, are they representing the task now? Are they better with the task? Yes. So now they're better with the task. Now are they getting better with the skill? And gradually I can introduce different things to it to help the skill be shaped even more. Shaping the skill. So I'll talk about that. But here's the thing. On your ball pickup on your back pivot, you hear a sound. Remember this drill you do for 4 hours at some camps? No. This is the application of a pop. Pop the ball on pickup. Go. So I can gradually introduce things that shape the skill instead of doing it all at once. And again, if I give them a 10-minute lecture on the back pivot, they're not going to enjoy practice. How about if I get them in the back pivot, they do the back pivot, and then gradually I introduce other aspects of the back pivot to help them be shaped and to help them evolve. Okay, hold. Okay, give me, in 4 seconds, get the balls down there, get in 3-on-3 there, 3-on-3 there, give me a third group up top, or another group up top in the middle. 3-pass 1-on-1, 3-pass 1-on-1, same thing we did before. Same thing we did before. Teams don't matter, teams don't matter. Great effort getting into it, great pass, great shot decision. 4, 3, 2, rotate, figure it out, guys, communicate, let's go. Who's staying, who's coming out? Figure it out. Come on, quickly, quickly. Should already be in the rep. Turnover, turnover. Why? Because you paused. Turnover, let's go. Turnover, pause, go. Rotate, rotate, come on, guys. Keep jogging, keep getting there. Okay, hold. Why are you dribbling? What's your goal of dribbling? Is it to give it to another player? What's your goal of dribbling? Drive to what? Drive to score. Drive to score. Unintentional consequence of how good we are at teaching offenses. Most players in the world, immediately when I do drills, pass, 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 pass. Pass, 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 pass. I'll talk more about this tomorrow. If you give the ball to my 9-year-old daughter, wherever she is on the floor in range, and she's open, she has one thought and one thought only, and that's shoot. And she will unapologetically shoot the ball every time you give her what? To me, that's going to connect more for her in development than anything else. Because she's going to want to go work on her shot. She's going to go and want to get more skilled because she sees where she can apply the decision to be able to have more fun playing basketball. And the last thing I'll ever do to her is to ever tell her, no, you must pass. You must pass is terrible for youth development. You know what you must do? Drive to score, and if you don't score, it's because you drew 2 defenders, and if you drew 2 defenders, what should you do? Pass. Now let's go back to that situation. Come on, quick, 4, 3, 2, 1. Give the defense the ball. Okay, now, give me the ball. I attack. Okay, now, here's the constraint we play with one-on-one. We never play with a dribble constraint in terms of, oh, you're only allowed 2 dribbles. Because you know what a dribble constraint does? It teaches them to pick up the ball without a decision. I don't want to teach players to pick up a ball without a decision. So we don't have a dribble limit. We have a direction limit. And the direction limit is this. If I take a dribble not towards the rim, then I don't want to keep going in that direction. I want to be able to counter. So our constraint in one-on-one, 3-pass one-on-one, and in all of our things, because that connects to everything we do. It's not just a drill, it's a principle of play, is we don't want to take 2 dribbles in a direction not towards the rim. Now, eventually, and we don't have time today to do this, is if I did get here and I didn't have an advantage, then we can talk about what we call protection plans. Basketball Immersion, YouTube, Doug Novak just did a clinic I put up there for about 10 minutes on protection plans. Protection plans are ways to get out of trouble, which is so important, because knowing now watching youth basketball, they all get into trouble with their dribble. Way to get out of trouble. So I took 2 dribbles, I'm not going towards the rim. What can I do to get out of trouble? I can pull the dribble back to pass it and move it. I can turn a drive into a post-up, which is a Barkley, maybe a little bit more advanced. I can Nash, meaning I'm trying to get all the way under and through. Or I can back pivot and pass out. So I can teach protection plans to be able to help them get out of trouble, but the main reason they're in trouble is because they picked up their dribble without a decision. Because unintentionally as coaches, because we put dribble limits on them, they've learned how to take 2 dribbles and pick up the ball. They've taken 2 dribbles and pick up, well, that's what coach told me to do. I'm not allowed to take 3 dribbles. Oh, because they over-dribble. Over-dribbling is not the problem. The decision about where they're going on their dribble is the problem. And again, we spend so much time limiting that we don't evolve what to do when you didn't create an advantage off your dribble. Start again. Go, 4, 3, 2, 1, jogging. Go. One shot, go. Figure it out, just rotate down. Somebody's in already. Jog down, let's go. Hey guys, jog. If you're seeing the way the rotation works is once they get it, and we play 1-on-1 like this, we play 3-on-3 like this, they're never off very long. There's no situation where they're off very long. Okay, hold the ball. My daughter, first soccer practice of the year, stood on the sidelines during one drill, and I timed it. A time on task analysis, basically you put a stopwatch on. So the amount of time she's actively playing soccer and not playing soccer. Well, in the one drill she did, she sat off for 5 minutes. And this is soccer, where literally everyone should be playing soccer all the time in practice. And then the next part of it was she got on for 1 minute and 30, because the coach had one group on for 5 minutes and the next group on for 1 minute and 30, and then she was off for another 4 minutes. So essentially in a 10-minute drill, she played 1 minute and 30 seconds of soccer. Tell me, are you getting better as a player in those situations? And I would challenge you to have someone come into your practice and do a time on task analysis and just have them follow 2 or 3 players. And I've seen famous coaches, you would be impressed, you would love these coaches, making millions of dollars, winning championships and stuff, where their practices, by their design, have players not playing much basketball. And to me, it's like instead of having a 3-hour practice, we could have an hour and a half practice. And that's generally what happened. The more basketball we played in practice, the less we needed to practice because we were getting right to the point. And we weren't doing any other conditioning or stuff like that because the game conditions players to play basketball in that type of situation. Okay, so the key part of this is, remember I said I'm a whole coach? I just showed you what to do if the whole's not working. You can go to the parts. But more importantly, what did I reconnect it back to? And reconnection is a really important term in the way that I coach the game of basketball. If I am going to use a games approach, coaching them while they're coaching the game, then I need to use reconnections. That means sometimes they're going to struggle with certain features of the game, so I go to the simplified version of it. That was the one-on-one was a simplified version. Shoulder game was a simplified version. That's cool. I want to do the simplified version, but then I want to reconnect it to the game. Nobody ever made a rule, but some of us follow this rule, that our practice plans must be built from skills to dessert at the end. I love dessert. I don't want to wait to the end of practice to eat dessert. Why can't I start? I'm an adult. Why can't I eat dessert first? Well, kids are thinking the same thing. Why can't they play basketball at the beginning of practice? Why do they have to wait to the end of practice to play 5-on-5? To me, dessert should be all throughout practice, and then if you need to, within those segments, you reconnect them with the skills. So we can go back to shoulder game. Okay, we're not doing a great job attacking on the catch with what we call 0 seconds. 0 seconds is no pause on the catch, no predetermined decision, attack immediately on the catch. Okay, they're struggling with that. Okay, let's go shoulder game. Everyone get in shoulder game. Go, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're in shoulder game. Okay, hold. And then we'll go, okay, let's get back in 3 pass 1-on-1. Go. Like, there's no rule that says I have to do one thing and then I can't go back to it. And that's what you'll see as a feature of my practice. We'll keep hitting back to the same thing. Okay? Okay, everyone go. Everyone on the baseline down here. Get a partner in the ball. Get on the baseline. Go. Hold. Everyone get on the baseline down there. It's going to be too many of you, but I'll do it anyways. I've done enough coaching clinics that I know sitting down is not fun, so we'll get them all involved somewhat. Okay, just get a partner. One on offense, one on defense. One on offense, one on defense. Step out there. Let's go. One on offense, one on defense. Step out there. One on offense, one on defense. Step out here. Here, in the middle. One on offense, one on defense out there. Go. Cool. Now, everyone else just get ready to come into one of those spots. Offense has the ball. You're going to that rim right there. Offense has the ball. You're going to that rim right there. Give the offense the ball. Where would the defense be? Guys, where would the defense be? Cool. Okay, we've all done this, right? Zigzag drill. So just show us zigzag drill. Go. Dribble this way. Go. Cut them off. Go that way. Cut them off. Cut them off. Cut them off. Cool. Go back. Is there a better way? Yeah, because basketball practice is not a dance recital. It's not a dance recital. There is no value to teaching them memorized patterns. I would say in almost all parts of your practice, there's very little value to that, aside from sometimes structure gives them freedom from choice. And sometimes that's good for some of your players. The football player that comes and plays basketball and isn't really a basketball player, we want to give them freedom from choice. We want to give them, okay, this is what you're doing, and this is all you're doing, because that'll make them more effective. And I don't ever feel bad having that conversation, because they're not all equal. We have 30 players. They're not all equal. Some are better and some are worse. And those aren't weaknesses. Those are realities. And the point is if you're not the best player, what do we always put at the end of that? You're not the best player. What do you always say? What? Yet. Good effort listening and applying. I'm a cold caller, by the way, too. What day is today? Who won the national championship last year in college men's basketball? You're winning all day. Kansas, you got to know that one. Anyways, cool. Isn't that fun? But Chris Oliver, good to meet you. Eric, isn't that fun? The best teacher I ever had was a professor in my master's that cold called the whole class. I was scared every single minute of class. I was scared every single minute of class, but I was prepared every day. I've never done all the readings before in a class. I've never been more prepared in a class than I was for that class. And to be truthful, I've never retained more information from a class than that class. Now, she created psychological safety for us. She said it's okay to not know the answers, but we're going to put you in a position where you're responsible for your learning. And I will do the same thing. I apologize, Eric. I didn't create psychological safety for you yet. But I do it. I do it for players all the time. You don't hear it in practice tonight. Great effort making a mistake. Wouldn't you love to have a parent, teacher, coach tell you great effort making a mistake? Like, we've framed mistakes as negative, so of course their body language, the way they act, is a direct reflection of how we've taught them to respond to mistakes, as opposed to celebrating the fact that that's part of the learning process and that's natural. And we're all human, we're all competitive, and we have to balance that, and sometimes I'm pissed off. I make a mistake, for sure. I'm human. That's normal too. But we want to normalize it as much as possible in terms of this. So instead of doing a dance recital of zigzag drill, we're just going to play basketball. Okay, one-on-one, you have your lane. You guys are sideline to free throw lane. You guys are lane line to lane line. You're sideline to free throw lane. And you're one-on-one. As soon as they cross half, the next group can go. You guys wait down there, and then you'll switch and come back. It's live one-on-one. Too many going to the same basket? Yeah. I don't know what he was doing there in live one-on-one, but we'll talk about that. Okay, hold. Guys, live one-on-one. Ready? Cover me. Why are you trying to beat him? Just beat him. If you're faster than him, go full speed into what? What's always the answer? Smile. Space. Trying to get to the smile. Great effort answering. They're both S's. You're trying to get to space, and then you're trying to finish in the smile. What happens if, Gabriel, if Gabriel gets chest to chest when I'm going in one direction, what do? What do we talk about when they get chest to chest? Counter. So I'm going one direction, he sprints, then I try and counter. So the same things I taught you there. What's offensive advantage? Shoulder to chest. Shoulder to chest, what do? Keep going, or say it, what do I call it? Leg lock. I might not have to, I just might have space for speed. Space for speed. Space for speed. Why do you want to create space? Because you have space for speed. If he takes away my space, I don't have space for speed. So I want to get into space so I have space for speed. So, shoulder to chest, my advantage, I go, he gets chest to chest, then I try and counter, and I get back into space and I try and score. Connecting everything we do to the same principles of play. Space is always the answer, shoulder to chest to chest, it's very consistent. You don't have to check it, just go, man. Too many dribbles, you're zigzagging them, just go. There you go. Just go, just go. Don't counter until you have to. Okay, hold, look at me. This is where we're going with this. This is called shrink the floor. This is a constraint from Alex Sarama, my partner with Basketball Immersion, coaching a college prep team in Italy right now, working with a pro team in Italy. We've both been very fortunate. We've consulted with NCAA Division I's, NBA teams, etc. But I tell you, Alex has some of the best constraints you can think of. And one of them is shrink the floor. And I'm going to show you how we connected to principles of play. Do you already see how we connected space? So that shoulder game, 3-pass one-on-one, connects to our full court one-on-one, because it's all the same stuff. Shoulder to chest to chest. Now, shrink the floor. Basically, offensive player, you've got to play inside of me. You can go anywhere you want, but you've got to always be inside of me. So who's outside of me right now? You don't have to move defense. If he doesn't move, you make him move. But anyways, you got to always play inside of me. So if I'm moving while you're playing, what do you have to adjust? Always where my chest is facing. Okay, so I'm always going to shrink the floor or expand the floor, and you got to play in those areas. Remember scanning, right? That ability to be able to see without seeing. There's actually a lot of detail on this, but most dribblers, you know how we do dribbling drills and we put up our fingers and stuff like that? That's okay. But truly, dribblers don't dribble like this in a game. They're not looking up. They're looking down, but seeing. Right? They're not looking down like this, but they're looking forward, down, and seeing without seeing by being a head turner and scanning. Because I got to see my player. I got to make decisions relative to my player. So it's unrealistic to have them do this because the player that's covering them is the key feature of their movement to start with. So shrink the floor. Live, go, beat them. Just beat them. You guys shrink. You're outside of me. You're outside of me. That was smart. Look at me. You guys stay inside of me. Shrink the floor. Got to get inside. Good. You're outside. Turnover. Can't go outside me. Okay. Hold. You get the idea? A lot of intentional chaos. It's messy. Messy is part of the learning process. Messy learning is good. And over the long haul, they'll figure it out, and they'll get better because they'll have more reps, too, because I'm spending less time on organizing, and I'm just getting them directly into things. Now, can I break down key features of this and talk about run recoveries? Yes, I could get them. Okay, if you're defending someone and they start to go full speed in one direction, do I want to cut them off, or do I want to create a gap? Why? Because what's my advantage? What to what on defense? Chest to chest. Like in an hour, they understand the principles of play that we're trying to connect them with. So we can talk about drop, sprint, get ahead and create a gap. So we can talk about run recoveries. I can still coach all the key coaching interventions while they're playing the game. And I get them to focus on those two things. We can put in a constraint. Obviously the constraint is no spin dribbles. We can say no spin dribbles. Okay, here's a constraint. You can only use behind the back as a counter. Only use behind the back as a counter. Limiting something to help something else, to afford something else. Remember me, shrink the floor. Okay, turnover, spin between your legs. You got to play inside of me. You turn over. Good effort going behind your back. Remember, you can only go behind your back. There you go. Go full speed. Okay, hold. Hold. You two, come back. Okay, turn and face. Both of you turn and face. Okay, now, your main problem is you're trying to use a counter without first attacking. So what do you want to do first? Attack to what? What's always the answer? So you're trying to attack the space. So don't counter without having a counter. Where should you go first? Try and go full speed there. Full speed, go. Okay, now, there. Isn't that easier than you zigzagging 45 times? So we can coach situations while they play the game. And that's the beautiful thing about that in terms of that. Okay, come back down here. Give me 4 people on offense, 4 people on the baseline, and 4 other people on the baseline. Offense. Here, dude, come over here. Go over there. Come over this way. Right there. Okay. Get 4 lines. I know we got too many, so go set the balls all against the wall. We can go to 2 baskets, and I'll show you that in a second. Okay, give my man the ball. Give my man the ball. Move up. 45. Okay, now let's connect that concept. So this is what we do. If we teach something, we want to connect it. So right now, we used to do this, by the way. This is 4-on-4 closeouts, 3-on-3 closeouts. You've probably seen the drill. The drill is not the important thing here, but I'll show you something real quick. In 3-on-3, 4-on-4 closeouts, the ball passes along the baseline, pass. And you go to your farthest spot, go. Pass, reverse it, reverse it, reverse it, reverse it. Cool, okay, go back. I spend a lot of time with a lot of coaches that believe in blackberries. And I'm okay with that, because I feel that's always an opportunity for me to stimulate their thinking. And again, I don't need to be right. I don't need to be right. I'm just here to stimulate thinking and get you to say, is there a better way? So to me, being around a lot of coaches has taught me the value of marrying concepts, marrying some of the blocked repetition with live game-based play. So to me, if you know, just get the ball, get the ball, get the ball. Okay, just throw the ball to your partner and go close out, and then switch spots. Go close out. Good, switch spots. Give it to the next guy. Go. Pass it to the next guy. Go, quick. Go, quick. Quick, switch. Okay, hold. Go back to 1 ball then. Go back to 1 ball. To me, we could do that drill, but as you know probably from the hour I've spent with you so far, I don't see a value to that, because it doesn't connect the decision on the closeout. Again, run as fast as you can and stop. That's my closeout information. I could give you an hour lecture on a closeout, but really it's as simple as run as fast as you can and stop as fast as you can. And stop as fast as you can, as close as you can, without getting beat off the dribble. And what position do they want to maintain? Chest to chest. Now, you can make decisions about you want hands up, hands out. We want to hand out after they've stopped, generally, and we want to contest shots on the shot, all that, blah, 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 yes, for sure. But really, a closeout in its simplest form is run fast and stop fast, right? So I don't need to do a drill for that, but I want to connect it. So now I can marry the situation. Now we pass it through the baseline. Get rid of the balls. We only got the 1 ball. Only got the 1 ball. Pass it through the baseline, run your spot, close out your spot. Go, quick. Go, close. Swing it through. Swing it through. Close, close, close. Hold. Remember shrink the floor? Now we talk about shrink the floor. How are you shrinking the floor right now? What's your responsibility relative to the ball? What? To help him. What's his responsibility? No, that's his responsibility, baseline. What's his responsibility? Middle. So get over here, bud. Shrink the floor. Butt to the baseline. No, that's your chest. Yeah, you're good. Okay, butt to the baseline. Now, right now, we are connecting shrink the floor constraint to our team defense. When coach shrinks the floor in the constraint, do you have less space or more space? Less space. That's exactly what we want to do to the defense. We want to constrain their space. Our goal on defense is to take away space. So we connect the constraint of shrink the floor to now our team defensive philosophy, which is shrink the floor. So right now you're shrinking the floor because you're covering baseline, you're covering middle, and you're the helper. We would have you out, not in, but we won't talk about that too much. Okay, go back. Start the whole thing again. Now, here's another thing. I can marry the concept so everyone gets a closeout. Now everyone's getting a closeout rep, and then it becomes live. Or I can skip all that and literally just have them go a little bit faster into the closeout, which is something I learned really recently from a coach that told me, why are we wasting time passing along the baseline? Roll the ball to the far spot and go. No, to the offensive spot. Go again, to the offense. Sorry, that's my fault. So I'm trying to think constantly, how can I make my drills better? Even at this point, after hundreds and hundreds of clinics and reps and camps and practices, thousands and thousands and thousands, how can I make it better and more efficient? Roll it right to them. Go. Now we're in it. Go, quick. Everybody. Okay, hold. Go back. Reconnect. Go back. Offense, big advantage or small advantage is a concept. So if you swing it as fast as you can, not stepping the pass, are you going to create a big advantage or a small advantage for him? Okay, if you reverse the ball as slow as you can and step the pass, are you going to create a big or small advantage? Okay, we want him to attack with space or without space. So whose responsibility is that to create that advantage? The offense to move the ball as fast as you can. We're always connecting things back to creating space or taking away space. Quick. Rotate, go. Defense to offense, go. 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, hold. Go back, recreate. So, how can we coach now penetration reaction out of this? No, we're covering. We're covering. Go cover already. Just go to your spot. Go cover a spot. You pass the ball there. How can you create space for your teammate? Without being allowed to basket cut yet. Great answer, though. Where can you move that creates space for him? How about away? Just take a big step away. Because what's he trying to do? Shrink the floor. So if I stand here, it's easier for him to shrink the floor because he's closer to the ball and to me. If I take a step here, and you take a step there, and you take a step there, now we created what? Space. Always the answer. And look, if he cheats too much, you can stampede and just throw it to me. And I can just go and attack, and then play out of there. Here's the mindset that we connect to this, and this may be advanced, but we're trying to develop this concept, even with my under 11s, is to be early to the push and late to the pull. And I'll explain that. Early to the push, late to the pull. Give my dude the ball. Let him go baseline. Flip your hips, let him go baseline. Okay, no, don't cover him, but let him go baseline. And remember, flip your hips to send him baseline. Okay, he's going baseline. You would help stop the ball, you would be trying to recover, you would drop there, cover the, yeah, good. Now, push-pull philosophy of penetration reaction. The ball's being dribbled away from you, you are pulled behind the ball. Weak side guy, no matter what, you go to one spot. Where do you go to? Is the weak side corner. You get a decision. You can pull, you can hold, or eventually that's a great cut, isn't it? That's a 45 cut. Okay, go back, and now he attacks middle, attack middle, stop, stop, stop. If you're dribbled towards, you're pushed. So where would you both go? Push. Push away, more. We want to create less space or more space? Push, okay? Come back, dribble away, go baseline, pulled. Push, pull. Now go back to the whole situation. When he goes baseline, remember you passed it and you want to create space for him. Create space. He goes baseline. Okay, stop. If he was to back pivot, pick it up, face the basket, shoulder to the rim. No, other way. And now pivot on your back foot. Yeah. That takes time. So that's why you can be late to the pull. Go back. Go middle. He had already spaced away and we're early to the push. Guys, early to the push. Because what are they creating? Space. Okay, now go back to why I talked about all that in the first place. Because this happens at youth levels especially. As soon as he passed the ball, did you see what he did the first time? He moved towards the ball. That's the last thing. Holding his spot is more valuable than moving towards the ball. That mini soccer where we all swarm the ball type of mentality. So we're not trying to do that. But for me, this 4-on-4 closeouts is connecting shrink the floor. We can do shrink the floor full court, and we can do the same thing full court. Okay? Let's go. Give the offense the ball. Go back. Go back. Actually, switch it. Offense and defense, so we get new guys on. Okay, let's go. Okay, hold. Now, all we're going to do off this is, as soon as it's reversed, but now we want to create a constraint. We don't want every player to touch the ball in the reversal, so it's faster. So, you understand what I'm saying? Someone's got to skip it. Move it, quick, move it. Hold, new offense, let's go, new offense, let's go. Every player touched it. Offense, not every player should not touch the ball in reversal, meaning we should skip a pass. Quick, defense, come on, defense. Okay, next. Let's go next, next. Okay, by the way, that's such an important concept. Do you have players that miss layups? Do you have players that drop passes? Where's my dude that dropped it? Where'd you go? Hey, were you trying to drop the pass? No. He wasn't trying to drop it. He's not trying to miss a layup. So every time I'm at practice and I hear coaches say, make your layup. Really? They didn't know that already? Like, and that somehow helps them make their layup? Like, think about what you're saying sometimes. And I still say bad things. Like, I'm definitely not perfect. I say some really bad things sometimes. But because I've recorded myself at practice, I've learned to filter out things that are important and unimportant. And really learned how to pause and say less rather than more. Because again, the consequence of him dropping the pass is already significant enough, which is what? Didn't get to play offense. Right? If I can't create more of an incentive than that. Right? Because I know he's not trying to miss a layup, he's not trying to drop a pass. And by the way, great effort making a mistake, and we're good to go. And we play from there. Okay, let's go. Let's see if we can get one. Okay, hold. What'd you do that slowed the ball down? You paused, right? He jabbed, he paused. So those are things that we can coach in the context of the game. Now, I would recreate, or I would have them early in the learning process, we just recreate, we do the rep again. Later in the process, they lose the rep. Come on, guys, let's recreate, do it again. Quick swing, come on, recreate, come on. No pauses. Move the ball as fast as you can. Okay, hold, recreate, go back. What was his mistake on top? He made it easy for the defender to shrink the floor. Give it to him. You pass the ball. What's your name? Tasia? Awesome. Chris Oliver, good to meet you. You pass the ball. How can you create space for your teammate right now? Higher and wider, higher and wider. There you go. Now, he dribbled to the middle. You took one dribble towards the middle, and you were chest to chest, or he was chest to chest. So, what did we do in shoulder game? You took a dribble, and the defender got chest to chest with you. The constraint in our one-on-one is you're not allowed to take two dribbles not towards the rim. So if you took a dribble here and they were chest to chest, you can either pass it quickly because you drew two, or what can you explore? Attack and counter. So now you realize as soon as I go there, boom, they stop me and now I'm trying to go there. Or I attack here, I drew him, and now stop. Stay here, because you did your job, right? Your middle help. What did we create over there? Did we create an advantage? We created a numbers advantage. 2-on-1. 2-on-1. If you can create 2-on-1s in your offense, you're running good offense. Go watch your next game film and look on the weak side floor and determine how many times you're creating 2-on-1 advantages. Most basketball, WNBA, NBA especially, if you watch it, most advantage basketball comes down to weak side 2-on-1 advantages. Creating 2-on-1 advantages. In this example, we have a temporary 3-on-2 advantage. Simply because he made a decision. That had nothing to do with skill. That had to do with the decision. Connecting the skill and the decision at the same time helps him get more skilled. However you want to define the skill, but the skill has to take place in the environment. So that idea. Okay, next, rotate. Okay, now, after a shot, because I'm not going to stop it, after a shot, we're going to play a full court trip. So this is going to be defined as 1 trip, 2 trips, 3 trips. So this group of 4, you're playing 3 trips. Good luck. Drive it, drive it, drive it. Attack counter. That's 2 dribbles not towards rim, picked it up without a decision. Great drive, great pass. Okay, hold. You know, it's hard for us as coaches to give up a known good for an unknown better. And that's what I'm trying to do with so many coaches, is just get you to think differently. To give up a known good, 3-man weave, oh it works, we won with 3-man weave, for an unknown better, play more basketball in practice. That's hard. And I commend all of you for sitting through this, because it's really hard to think that way. It's also hard for players to be changed in what we've taught them at a really young age. We all know what you should have done. You know what you should have done when you caught the ball. Do you know what it was? Yes. And for some reason, through the process, and again, this is just one isolated thing, but he has probably been taught the value of that extra pass, that extra pass, extra pass. Okay? Doug Novak, me first for us. Me first for us. I frame it all the time. Being selfish is positive. Being selfish in basketball is positive. That is because, would any one of you, would you have had an issue if he shot an open shot? Good shot, bad shot if he shot an open shot. Good shot, bad shot if he shot an open shot. Good shot, right? How about if he shot a contested shot? Good shot or bad shot? They know shot selection. They know the difference between a good shot and a bad shot. It generally comes down to whether you're open or not, right? Now we can get more defined as we move up, like certain players are better, so they deserve more shots, but we want to define it in that way. So right now, we all know he should have shot the shot. And how about this? If he had shot the shot, we'd already be playing full court basketball, right? Like we'd be playing basketball because we had an open shot. Instead, we're still trying to find an advantage when we already created an advantage. Chances are if you turn down an open shot, you don't create a better shot. So we want to create a mindset of shooting open shots. Okay, shoot it so we can go full court. They just shoot it just so you see it. Go play, play, play. Defense, shrink the floor, shrink the floor. Shrink the floor. Good, play, play. There you go. Defense to offense, go. Defense to offense, new group coming in. Go, 4, 3, 2, 1. 4, 3, quickly, quickly. Who was on defense down there? You should be on offense. Okay, hold. Awesome. Hey, dude, look at me. Were you actually on that team? Were you? I was going to say, I didn't think he was, but that's perfect. Like, that's great. When somebody solves a problem and just says, wait a minute, they don't want to go on offense? I'll go on offense. That's when you know they're starting to figure out what basketball is all about in practice. And that means solve problems, figure it out, and let's go. Don't stare at each other, just solve the problem. And most of the time, that's what we constantly say. You will hear me say in practice constantly, figure it out, figure it out, figure it out, right? Like, it's like my daughters, if they ever came to me and said they're bored, I'd just say, figure it out. You know? That's it. I mean, they have the capacity to figure it out. I don't need to solve that problem. Go figure it out. And they do. And that's why, again, I think they're pretty self-sufficient kids, because we didn't solve the problems for them. We had them sort out their problems and figure it out. And that type of thing that goes with it. Anyways, it goes into...